Hello and welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. I'm Chris Corso here talking women's soccer with Liam Byrne. And the women's soccer team starts out this year 2-4-2, and it seems to be the same old story for women's soccer, and that's not being able to put the ball in the net. Ever since losing Moa Matson, who led the team with 18 goals 2 years ago, there really isn't a go-to scorer that Coach Ed Matz can depend on. So Liam, tell us a little bit about their first matchup. It was a tie on Friday against Northeastern.
Yeah, the road trip started at Northeastern, and that match ended up in a 0-0 tie in double overtime. Danielle Krasinski in goal, she had 6 saves. UMass had 12 fouls and Northeastern had 4. Overtime matches this season have been a big story for UMass. 6 out of their 8 games so far have been overtime games. They're 2-2-2 in overtime games this season. Now on Sunday, they played UConn. UConn is number 2 in the AAC. They're 6-1-1. They lost 5-0. That's truly a heartbreaker because it was just a hard loss. And the first half they had 1 goal. UConn had 1 goal, and in the second half UConn scored 4 more goals, and that was just a tough one for them. The 2 people who scored the goals, the most goals for UConn were Riley Hull and Danielle Gottwick. They each had a pair of goals. Their fouls, again, UConn had a lot of fouls, 11 fouls to UMass's 3. At the end of the game, Ed Matz was quoted saying that we just need to get back and make sure that this is a productive loss. We move on and we learn from it. So he has a lot of confidence in his girls, which is what's going to be good going for the games in the final stretch of their road series here.
So it was a tough weekend for UMass women's soccer, and that's for sure. A tough tie to Northeastern, and then a loss to the heavily UConn was heavily favored in that game against UMass women's soccer. So what do the men and women need to do to get back on track and start scoring some goals and putting up some competitive games?
Well, Chris, they need to score. That's basically what you got to do in soccer. You got to score, What else they can do is they can get the ball to their main goal scorers. I'd say Megan Burke and Jackie Bruno. They both lead the team in goals and points. And Danielle Krasinski, she needs to keep her head up in goal because last game she let up 5 goals, and coming into the next game, you can't be down. You got to keep your head up and just keep playing. What they really need to do is focus on the defensive side of the ball as well. I mean, they're a very focused defensive team, but they really need to focus offensively, get some balls in the back of the net, and that's how they need to be successful. They also need to get good early starts. They can't be picking themselves up and getting into these overtime games, and they just have to try to limit the overtime matches. And I think that's how they're going to be successful from here on out.
Well, like Liam said, it's been tough for them to score, not just this year, but the past couple of years. As I brought up before about Moa Matson, she was the last pure scorer that this team has had, and that was 2 years back. Last year, there was only 1 scorer who had 8 goals as the team leader, which is not what your team leader should have in goals. It should be a little more than 8. So that's been a problem for Ed Matson and the Minutewomen. But a good sign for the Minutewomen is that they will be playing against 2 Ivy League opponents coming up. And their next opponent will be Brown, who's 2-2 on the year, not as strong of a team as UConn. What can you tell us about this matchup coming up?
Well, coming up, the corner kicks compared to UMass's opponents this year, UMass is very good in their corner kicks. They have 51 to their opponents' 35. The assist ratio for UMass is okay. I mean, they have 5 to their opponents' 10, which is about 50%. Their shot percentage against for coming into this game is .054, and Brown's is .121, which means UMass gets a lot of opportunities to score, but they just need to convert. They haven't converted, and hopefully they'll convert to get a W in this matchup.
Well, definitely the Minutewomen are looking for Jackie Bruno to step up as a goal scorer. She's one of the top guns that Coach Ed Matz has. She's been with the program for a little while, and she's played even as an underclassman. So she's the one that I'm keeping my eye on, that's for sure. But thank you, Liam. That was great coverage of the women's soccer team. And we'll be back in a little bit with men's soccer. But first, we have a nice little package from the Daily Collegian on the UMass cheerleading team. And yes, they are a sport.
fun and getting to pump up the crowd, especially at Gillette and at the Mullen Center, because a lot of people show up.
There's no other feeling than being a college D1A cheerleader, for sure.
The things you get to do are really fun. Like, you can't get closer to the games than we do. Like, you're up close and personal. It's really fun. That's
We have a lot of rules, but like the benefits of being a cheerleader definitely outweigh those rules, I think.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1.
People don't understand how athletic we have to be to do what we do. Like, we had a showcase last year and people came and they were like, wow, I had no idea that that's what you guys did. Like, that's awesome. Like, why don't you guys do that at the games? And because that's what we do when we compete, and I just wish people could see that more.
I think we all just kind of ignore when people try to label us and use those stereotypes, because we know that we're not like stereotypical cheerleaders that are dumb and whatnot. So, I mean, we know that, which is good enough.
Yeah.